We are about 5 hours into Selection Saturday. At this point, the 48 selectors have discussed and voted on the senior candidate and the 2 contributor candidates. Now, obviously, we don't know the outcome of those votes, and we won't know until the class is announced later tonight. At this point, they're almost finished with their discussion of the 15 modern era candidates, and just a few moments ago, I had an opportunity to talk with a couple of selectors about what's going on in the room.
A lot of processing going on, and I say that with all due respect because there have been some very compelling cases. There has not been a single presentation that you'd look at and or think about and say, boy, that was not a good presentation. It is going to be hard to go through all of our finalists today and then just whittle it down to just 5 plus the contributors and the seniors nominee. There are so many worthy candidates, and so I think right now everybody is still trying to figure out exactly where we're going to go on this. Now, we'll have some direction when we go from 15 to 10. So someone that you may have thought individually, okay, he's in the top 5 or 6, maybe that person doesn't make it to 10, and then that gives you some pause and forces you to think about some other things. But I think it's really looking very tight in terms of trying to separate most of the finalists.
Is there anyone you'd really like to see make the cut?
I'd like to see about 15 guys make the cut, and I think that's kind of the nature of this thing, okay? But here's a couple things. We've got 4 offensive linemen among the finalists, and we have 5 defensive backs. So I'd like to see 1 or 2 of the offensive linemen advance not only to the next cut but to get into the Hall of Fame. I'd also like to see 1 or 2 of the defensive backs advance to the next round and then into the Hall of Fame. In terms of individuals, with respect to that, I like Ty Law, and I think when we look at the championship teams of so many eras, you look at the Packers of the 60s and the Cowboys of the 90s and the 49ers of the 80s, the Steelers of the 70s, you see a lot of Hall of Fame representation from those teams, and deservedly so. But when you look at the New England Patriots, we know Bill Belichick's going to get in one day, and of course Tom Brady will be in the Hall of Fame one day. But there are a lot of other players who were key contributors to those Patriots teams, and 2 of them we're discussing in the room today, and Richard Seymour and Ty Law. The reason why I say Ty Law before Richard Seymour at this point is because we've had Ty Law in this room now for 3 years, and it's tough sledding. And so that's a guy I really feel strongly about. So we'll see how it goes, because I don't know if everyone else agrees, and that's what you don't know sometimes.
I go in with a sense that, sure, we've got a logjam at offensive line, and that was definitely probably the headline of this. Now, you have headliners, guys like Ed Reed, guys like Tony Gonzalez, who you know, the most casual fan is going to look at those guys and say those are Hall of Famers. I think this particular year and this particular group, you look at a position like offensive line and you see absolutely qualified players there, but they're all offensive linemen, and how many of them from a group of 4 can get in? The worry I have, and others have shared before this meeting, was if you don't break the jam continues, and that it only backs up even farther, and that becomes, I think, problematic, because you think about when will the time come for these particular players. We had that issue with wide receiver. There was a big log jam there, and finally when one guy got in, then another guy, and I have a feeling, and we'll see how things unfold with this, I have a feeling that jam will break this year, and then hopefully, as the years go on, we'll see more get in.
Up next, the selectors will narrow the 15 modern era candidates to 10 and then to 5 before voting on the final class. Everything is expected to wrap up around 3 p.m. today so that David Baker can go knock on hotel room doors and everyone can head over to NFL Honors when the class of 2019 officially will be announced to America. Stay tuned on CantonRep.com and on social media as we bring you all the coverage from Selection Saturday. Thanks for watching.